The truth about sugar. Warning: this video may cause you to never want to eat sugar ever again, so you might want to pause this video and get your last dose before I reveal some very interesting facts, and of course the more aware you are of what sugar does, the less you're going to consume it. I watch people all the time around me consuming massive amounts of sugar, and I'm like, oh my gosh. How could you possibly do that? Well, it has to do with awareness. The dangers of sugar include weight gain, fatty liver, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, vaginal infection, and lowered immune system. There's some other things that I want to share with you that you need to know about, and it all relates to most diseases, which are metabolic diseases. What does that mean? Metabolic diseases has to do with your metabolism, and when we're talking about metabolism, we're specifically talking about this one structure in our cells called the mitochondria. Mitochondrial dysfunction is responsible for the majority of non-infectious diseases. Dysfunctional mitochondria are what's behind so many diseases, including cancer. In cancer, you have normal cells that turn into cancer cells because of damaged mitochondria. It's impossible to get cancer unless you have damage to the mitochondria. If you look closely at what's happening deep inside the cell, there are a lot of things that destroy the mitochondria, but at the top of the list is sugar and foods that turn into sugar very quickly, such as refined carbohydrates like breads, pasta, cereal, biscuits, waffles, muffins. When we talk about sugar, the majority of sugar in the United States is beet sugar, and the majority of beets grown in the United States are GMO. This GMO-type sugar has traces of glyphosate, which is a herbicide. The amount of fructose that we consume from sodas contains high fructose corn syrup, which is a lot different than glucose. So we have fructose, which is only metabolized by your liver. All the other cells in the body can't metabolize fructose. When you're consuming large amounts of fructose or sugar, you are overwhelming the liver and overwhelming the mitochondria, thereby damaging it. Now the purpose of the mitochondria is to turn fuel into energy with the help of oxygen, and so a dysfunctional mitochondria creates a low-level oxygen state, and from that, other oxygen molecules that are very reactive to our bodies are produced. When this happens, the process is called ROS. For simplicity, just realize that when you have a mitochondria that is not able to use oxygen, you start developing a lot of oxidative free radicals. These free radicals are created because we don't have oxygen in the cells. The derivatives of oxygen are highly reactive and damaging to your cells. This is what causes diseases. When we consume too much sugar, mutation within the DNA of the mitochondria is inevitable. This lack of fuel in the mitochondria starves off your cells. What happens in cancer is the cell, as a survival mechanism, gets its fuel outside the mitochondria. In cancer, cells have to compensate by hogging up as much fuel as they can, and sugar is one of the fuels that they go after hardcore. There's a tremendous amount of oxidative stress that's produced from these damaged mitochondria, and the oxidative stress leaves your body without all the protective mechanisms that normally come in nature, like antioxidants that can counter all the oxidation. There's something called mitophagy. Mitophagy is a condition called autophagy, which is the recycling of old damaged cells, and that's a good thing because your body goes into the state where it can clean up damaged mitochondria and replace them with new mitochondria. This prevents cancer and avoids the complications that happen with damaged mitochondria. Unfortunately, sugar inhibits that ability for your body to create new mitochondria. Vitamin B1 is probably one of the most important nutrients in the mitochondria that helps things work correctly. However, the more sugar you consume, the more vitamin B1 you need. When you consume a lot of sugar, you deplete your B1 reserves, and what comes next is devastating, especially in the case of a diabetic. The complication is peripheral neuropathy, mainly due to vitamin B1 deficiency. In peripheral neuropathy, the bottom of your feet starts becoming numb or tingly, or your hands feel like they are burning. Taking vitamin B1 will pretty easily resolve that condition. Vitamin B1 deficiency also leads to anxiety and nervous tension. Lack of sleep can lead to nerve damage in other parts of the body, and also damage in certain parts of the brain that have to do with memory. Another thing that gets depleted in the mitochondria from eating a lot of refined sugar is zinc. Zinc is also needed to make sure your mitochondria are bulletproof or protected, and without zinc you get dysfunctional mitochondria, so you just might want to think twice next time you eat that candy bar. Consuming so much sugar sets your body up for a cascade of issues down the road. So the question now is how to recover after sugar consumption. What can we do to improve the mitochondria cell function? The number one thing you should do is go on a low-carb diet. It's called the ketogenic diet. Cut out sugar, cut out these refined carbs, you're going to feel better immediately. The next thing is exercise, especially high-intense interval training, and this brings up another point about athletes that are doing all sorts of long-distance marathons. They typically consume a lot of carbohydrates, and you might be saying, well, how come they're able to do this with all that sugar? Well, exercise can overcompensate, and exercise alone can stimulate the mitochondria. Lack of sleep lowers the mitochondria in our body. A good night rest can enhance our mitochondria. There's a lot of different plant-based chemicals such as resveratrol, quercetin. The phytonutrients in green tea and garlic can all boost your mitochondria. There's this thing in the mitochondria called the Krebs cycle. It's a very complex machinery, but it is simply your body's turning food into energy using oxygen, and to do that process you have to go through a bunch of steps, and your body requires vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, and coenzyme Q10 and other nutrients. So if you made it this far, you are more aware of what sugar does to probably one of the most important parts of your cell called the mitochondria. Getting off sugar is going to be extremely therapeutic to your overall health because it's something that you can do. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe to my channel.